Yo, hooligan, how you doing? Uh, Yo, what up, Common? Live announcements. Yo, what up, No Heart? It ain't morning for me. Okay, can everyone hear me? My dudes sound schlump. I guess. Fuck, that's not what I wanted. Good. I need to put on some tunes. Give me. What do I want you to give me? It's morning somewhere. Yeah, as they say, 5 o'clock was 20 hours ago. Give me some. I don't know. Oh, I want music. I don't know what music I want though. Okay. Give me. There we go. I know it was loud. I apologize. We're going with the Link to the Past soundtrack. Go to Videosity. Okay. So, I have Photoshop open. I don't like this. Yeah, no, I don't like this. I don't like this font. In case it's not obvious, I don't write in Photoshop. I guess we'll do that, and then we'll do like check back later. You can't stay? No problem, man. This could be a train wreck. I don't know. God damn it. Fucking. Ah! I hate Photoshop so much. I hate it so much. It's the worst. Did I pay a one sum, or are you subscribed to Adobe? I'm subscribed. Nice, Common. All right. Okay. Now we should be able to go up here and then layer style stroke. Oh my god, look at that. There's text on the screen. It's incredible. Wow. Okay, so coming over here with this switch to truth. So I have two plans going right now, and you guys get to decide which one we stick with. All right. So, because I have two kind of stories cooking in my head, and I don't care particularly which one I work on right now. So, sorry, I'm putting on some lip chap. I was just outside sweating my ass off, laying tile, so I'm very tired. Okay. So, one of the ideas. So here's idea one. All right. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, so here's idea one. All right. Couple things to note about idea number one. Can I do like bullet points? I guess I can't. Fuck Photoshop. All right. Idea number one is basically fully formed. All right. It is it's a trilogy of novels, young adults oriented for the most part. No, I know. No bullet points, no baitins, no bitches. Trilogy of novels, young adult oriented. It is, we'll say, without going into it too much, set in a post-apocalyptic adjacent city setting, right? And it has it focuses on several core themes, among which are loyalty. Can you have grim light? Already hate it. Loyalty. I don't want to say like gender differences because that's not accurate. We'll just go with things like oh, I don't know, man. I wanted to have a presentation done and I don't have it. Now I can't think. We'll just say mystery and kind of the consequences of like tribal conflict. There it is. Don't think, just blink. All right, so that's idea number one. All right, that's so basically fully formed. Do not need story inputs. All right. Idea two is a rough idea at best, which means will accept more story input. It is all in a singular location. A manor in the woods. And it has a small cast of characters. It is a single novel split into 4 parts. We give input anyway and have you yell at us? No, I'm going to ban you. Are these streams going to be educational? They're going to be my process. So if you find that educational, great. Okay, single novel split into 4 parts, and it basically has just one central theme, which is trauma cycles. So those are the 2 ideas that we can work on during writing streams. And I do not care which. Only your Canadian mods can. My Canadian mod is not here. Although he was online like an hour ago. And now he's not. What a fucker. Regardless. I'm going to put it to a poll. Is this more educational or interactive? It's going to depend, No Heart. Like, ultimately, these are my books, so I can and will disregard any suggestions that are given. How about an idea 3 where I jump in and save the day? No. All right. How you doing, Shiny, by the way? Oh, fuck. 50-50. Fuck off, guys. Idea 3 where he goes back to the graveyard in Twilight Princess and keeps digging for that chest he missed. Absolutely not. I didn't expect a 50-50. But an idea 3 we all admit that I'm the best writer ever. You guys are the worst. Alright, thank God. Okay, I'm stopping in here. 5 votes. Idea 2 wins. Which means all of my prep work is out the door. Alright. To give you an idea of my prep work, which is incomplete, mind you, but I made all these people to visually represent the characters I would describe for idea 1. Yo, what up, Shaman? All right, that said, idea 2 it is. All right. I fucking hate. Oh, I fucking hate. I hate Photoshop so much. Fuck off, idea 1. No one likes you. All right. Okay. So, here's the gist for idea 2. So I'm going to describe kind of how it came to me. And that was like a bolt of lightning. Because randomly, I rediscovered a series of Vocaloid songs. Now, what is Vocaloid for those that don't know? You know all the stupid, shitty AI voices that are running around everywhere? We can go back to that, Shiny, at a later date. Regardless, yeah, the shitty AI voices that are running around everywhere. Well, the precursor to that was something good, and that was Vocaloid, where artists were basically paid to make a whole bunch of sounds and a whole bunch of pitches, and then that was put into a software that people could use to create songs, right? Just using those voices that were pre-recorded that could be manipulated in the software. The voices were personified through, marketing. And it did create things like Common said, that is the origin of Hatsune Miku. If you know who that is, that fucking weeby ass shit. Yeah, it's the obvious example. Although she was not the first. She actually came in the second generation. Don't ask me why. And honestly, if you ask me why, it's because I'm going to make a video on the history of Vocaloid. Anyway, regardless, there's a series of songs, Vocaloid songs, that are the Night series. So we can pull those up. It's going to get the stream demonetized, but that's okay. Night series Vocaloid. Yep, Bad and Night series. All right. Yeah, we'll just click on that, and then it's like that, and then where the fuck be Twilight Night? God damn it, I hate YouTube so much. God. All right. Fuck, I suck. All right. And then it's Never Ends Night. Sorry, Everlasting Night. Fucking goddamn it, Everlasting Night. Perfect. Okay. So we're gonna listen to these, and it's gonna take about. I just closed one of them, didn't I? God fucking damn it. All right, it's gonna take about. Can you pause, please? 15 minutes. So let's just let's just start it. All right, ready? Here we go. It's all in Japanese. I apologize. So I will be describing what's happening as it goes along. So, well, okay, I'll describe it after the song. Oh, there's English. Fuck yeah. Hang on, let me options, font family is fine, font color white, background okay, yeah. And then window opacity, font opacity, yes. Okay, we could start over. Okay, here we go. It's like get the idea for my Miku vid, not just Miku. I will explain the full story once we have watched this. We're playing for a visual novel. House of Human Sacrifice. I don't think I've ever heard that one common. The one that I've listened to most recently that I really liked was it was Portrait of a Pirate F. I think that's what it's called. It was a Peter Pan based one. He's about to play Caramel Dancing soon. Very cool song. I agree. Portrait in Yokami stream. Why do you remember that? The song of my people. No, not Caramel dancing. The anime girl version of the unknown original. You mean the one by Caramel? I've seen that Jan Measley video, Shiny. Never heard of it, so I wrote it in the notes. You making notes on my streams? Oh no. Depends on how cultured site is. All right, so that's the first out of 4. That's quite the image for a recommendation, YouTube. Thank you. That said, let's just continue on. I'll explain everything later. This is number 2. Oh, there's more subtitles. Fuck yeah. Awesome. That's not correct. Subtitles, why? Thank you. This is my favorite of the 4. Oh, so good. Videosity, didn't you say you couldn't stay? What are you still doing here? Ignore that. Okay. I'm probably going to stop at this one, by the way. I don't want to get it. I don't want to get the stream, you know, banned down before it ends. But I think we could chance this one. Mostly because I got a notification on the stream. Oh, I'm definitely cutting this part out of the stream VOD once the stream ends. Because otherwise no one will be able to watch it after it ends. All right. So that is the second part of the night series. We will, like I said, we will not watch the next two because copyright. Anyway, so what was happening there? Okay, basic premise is that, and becomes more evident in the third part, Twilight Night, and also the fourth part, Everlasting Night, where the whole setting is basically just a big stage play, right? And the party within the play itself eventually, goes out of control. And then when the when the night rolls over in the play, everything has suddenly become incredibly real. And all of the actors, minus the main girl, the blue-haired girl, Miku, all of the actors believe that they are really in the play, and they are those characters that they were playing. The master, the mistress, the twin, that kind of thing. So in Bad End Night, what happened was the girl ended up trying to end the whole thing by killing all the actors and trying to get them out of this nightmare that they seem to have been trapped in. And that didn't work. She just kind of was crazy and murdered everyone. Crazy Night then is that same night that we see in Bad End Night, but from the perspective of the actors that believe that they are the characters. And that's where we get the bridge where they're all wondering where the final page is. They're wondering where their ending is within the play, because it keeps looping over and over and over. And then we see that loop again in Twilight Night, and then Everlasting Night, we finally break the loop, but I won't say how. Okay, enough with that. Let's go back here. All right. So, as they say, what's the phrase? Wait, hang on. Yeah, as they say, talent borrows, genius steals. So we're going to borrow. That said, that's a joke. I don't know why I said that said. I've been reading my scripts too fucking much. Anyway, so here's the idea. I'm going to pull it up in my documents as well so I don't talk out my ass. Not that I have much written down on it. So basically my idea is, okay, what if a legally distinct idea, what if I took that basic framework of, you have the house in the woods and time seems to be looping in on itself. With all of the characters more or less not remembering anything, right? So what if we took that idea and kind of wrapped it around and tried to figure out, okay, why, how, and what's the ultimate goal of the time loop, right? So here is the situation. And this is, again, the rough idea. This is not final. This is subject to change. Rough idea. Did that actually, come on, man. Where's my underline, bruh? I hate Photoshop. Fuck Photoshop. So of course, to pay homage to the inspiration, I want to use at least most of the same archetypes that they use in the songs themselves. So we have the visitor, and we're actually going to make this smaller and then zoom in. Fucking god damn it. I hate Photoshop so much. Okay. I hate it so much, dude. It's so bad. So we have the visitor, we have the master of the house, we have the lady of the house. Louse. All right. Tell you what. I'm going to do it like this instead. There we go. Is that a bit easier to read? Okay. Master of the house, lady of the house. I'm going to move you over here so I can see my outline a little bit more. We have the Lord's mistress. Sorry, the master's mistress. We have obviously the twins, the twin children. We have a maid and we have a butler, right? And all of them are going to serve kind of distinct roles within the Yo, what up, Sauce? Getting ready for Ren Fair? That's awesome, man. So I have rough names for all of these characters. They are not, again, rough idea, not set in stone. But the visitor I have as Raven, and that's important. I like the name Raven. We're going to keep that one. Everything else is more or less malleable. So for the master of the house, I have Julius. For the lady of the house, we have Demeter. Shit. Demeter. Julius might go by, like, I don't know, Jules. Like Jules Verne, you know? Demeter might go by Demi. I don't know. Something fun. This name is the one I'm least happy with. I like the name, but I feel like I want to try something different, a little bit more meaningful to what's going on in the story. The twins, so that would be like Edward and Alana. I'm sure there's a perfectly innocent reason for the name Raven/S. What are you implying, Shaman? Cecilia sounded like a maid name to me. And then because I have to throw in a reference somewhere, we do have Ford as the butler/retainer. Hashtag Fire Emblem Sacred Stones for life, right? So what I might do is, like, if I'm going to have like a Demeter kind of deal, I could make the mistress something related to the goddess Demeter. Problem is, Demeter's a virgin goddess, I believe. Is Demeter I think. No? Oh, fair enough. Raven feels like an Edgar Allan Poe reference. That is sort of what I'm going for, but not exactly. That's kind of the tone of the idea, though. Demeter is not a virgin. Yeah, I just looked that up. But anyway, I might do in that case, because I think it's part of the one of the things that I like to do is kind of to make dirty jokes, but in a subtle, like dramatic way. Maybe not even dramatic, but just like a subtle way. So like maybe I could do the mistress be a virgin goddess. You know, I could do the obvious like Artemis. Why not? Fuck it. And then she could just go by Art. That sounds good to me. I like that. Fuck it. 'Tis some visitor I added tapping at my chamber door, only this and nothing more. Direct all future mythology questions to Common and I will hook you up. I used to be more in touch with my Greek mythology, but to be fair, Demeter isn't exactly a well-known goddess compared to like the big ones. You could do Hecate or Athena. I could. Athena would be for a more like blunt character. I guess his mistress has a lot of art. Terrible. Although we could use that. Wait, hang on. Hestia is one of them, yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is for any of the random ideas we get about these characters, we can put them under this thing. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Stand by. Fuck out of ye. Okay. God. I hate Photoshop so much. That's going to be the catchphrase of this stream. All right. So maybe Artemis. So we could say people believe she's called Art for her obsessive collection. Maybe. I feel like that could be funny. Okay. So God damn it. Fuck off Photoshop. I hate you so much. Okay, so what is the premise actually, right? What does she collect? We'll figure that out later. So once again, basic premise, we'll say manor in the woods. All right. We could also say it involves a time loop. Involves time loop, right? That bothers me. Okay, anyway. Sephiroth would be a pretty inspired butler name. Absolutely not. Watch her have a degenerate dojin collection. Okay. So, oh my God. Okay. I've been lurking. I am. Okay. So, from the outline that I kind of started when I first thought up the idea, this was like, when did I first come up with this? This was created in June of 2023. So 2 years ago. And then I dropped it because I was busy with other things. So it's split into 4 acts, right? So first act, second act, third act, fourth act. Well, now we'll say final act. Right. Sephiroth would be a good mistress name. Terrible. Terrible. Okay, so the first act is going to be introductions, obviously. It's going to be establishing the core relationships that will develop throughout. We also need I'll tell you what, we'll do this. We'll do it this way. I truly do hate Photoshop more than you can possibly know. Yeah, that should give us plenty of room to work. Let's put on some tunes, by the way. The fuck are my tunes? God damn it. God damn it. There we go. Okay. Heathcote. Oh, God. Well, the name is not important. Let's focus on what actually matters, guys. Okay, so establishing the core relationship that will develop throughout. We need a villain. Establish a villain, which will be a red herring. This is about as far into it as I came up with, by the way. That the first act villain will be a red herring, and it's going to be the master of the house, by the way. Master of the house, right? Okay. That's kind of all that the first act needs to do, right? We'll say ends with Raven. I'll just say visitor because I like the name, but it's not totally final. You'd also turn down that music. It's good. So we'll send with visitor murdering the master of the house and mistress running away. Because the other thing that I thought of was that this first act is going to kind of have the mistress of the master's mistress become close with this visitor to kind of basically establish a duo that I can follow throughout the four acts, right? So I can have that kind of anchor point where maybe I might have to reestablish it, but their personalities will like mesh enough to be there to support each other, you know? And we could also use that as like a misdirection in something like the third act as well. Because maybe the mistress ends up betraying the visitor in the third act or something like that, right? So that'll take up... I'm not imagining this is like a super long book, by the way. I'm imagining like 5 to 6 chapters per act. and that's it, right? Super quick, fairly focused, you know. Not super complex characters. So what is the second act going to be used for? Second act is going to be basically its entire goal is to set up the time loop, right? Maybe it's one night, maybe it's a couple nights. We haven't decided that part yet, but we also need to develop the relationships. And this will be important later, I think. Because like what I'm imagining is like, okay, we set up the relationships in the first act. We develop them a little bit in the second act, but then as the deterioration happens, as the time loop fatigue sets in, they stagnate come the third act. Stagnate the relationships, right? And then in the final act, obviously, is the resolution of the mystery of the time loop. Right. So what is the mystery of the time loop? This is something that I also thought of. Is that, and this is something that's important when you're writing any kind of like a supernatural or like a fantastical thing. You do not need to explain it. It is not important if you don't make it important, right? Some people are gonna like hyper fixate on it that when they read, and that's fine. You can't stop them from doing that. But if it doesn't serve your themes or your narrative that you want to tell, that you don't need to bother taking the time to explain it. So when I say the mystery of the time loop, we're not going to explain why they they're not going to explain why the time loop happens in the sense of the specific mechanics of the time loop, right? Instead, it's going to be much more like character focused, thematic focused. So the idea, which I did not write down for some reason, but I remember most of the idea, right? So the basic idea is that Raven, this visitor to this manor, the manor is not actually real, right? It's all going to be basically just a representation of her various traumas. And the mastermind behind the time loop is that it is herself. She is using it subconsciously as a way to kind of work through and therapize, whatever that verb is, her traumas. Silent Hill, never played. So this is the tricky part because you have to set it all up to where it makes sense. Like you don't want it to just come out of left field at the end. You want it to be like a click moment, right? Where I don't necessarily care that they guess that it's not real, the audience that is. What I do want them to be able to work out and have a click moment is like, okay, why is this happening? You know? So that's the basic framework for first act, second act, third act, final act, right? We'll say mistress, fucking caps lock, mistress. We'll say mistakenly betrays visitor. Because maybe what happens is that the mistress sees the mastermind, who is obviously the visitor, although a kind of like more internalized form of her, and maybe mistakenly attacks the one that we've been following, that doesn't actually know what's going on, that is trying to work through her problems, right? So here's what I got stuck on, and here's kind of what we're trying to work out as we go through this, is that what is the trauma? I feel like to justify this extreme of a therapy measure, it has to be pretty damn bad. So what I'm imagining is that maybe there was like a family trip somewhere, right? And you know, there were tensions in the family. Maybe there were a couple friends going along to kind of like fill out mistake terrible to kind of fill out the cast, right? So maybe like the twins aren't actually part of the family, right? She ate her baby. And then maybe somewhere along that trip, like maybe their car got ran off the road, you know, something like that. And all of those relationships were essentially left unresolved, and maybe Raven was the sole survivor. So perhaps like maybe in her like her comatose state, maybe she was kind of like induced into this like trance like states through like an extreme form of like therapy, something like that. That's how you can kind of like justify what the trauma is, right? So that is the rough idea. I think we need to start outlining, right? An incident that splits apart the family. She meant to eat someone else's baby. Here, I'm gonna give you a timeout. Okay. An incident that splits apart the family could be interesting. Like maybe we could do like a Jacob's Ladder kind of thing where this whole thing is essentially her on her death throes, kind of like coming to peace with people that she never got resolution with. You know, we could have the bittersweet ending. I don't know. We'll have to we'll decide on that later. We don't have to come up with everything before we start writing. So I'm going to move you here. And we can zoom in. Okay. So I have part of an outline written from like 2023. So let's just read through this and see if we don't despise it. Pending the timeout. I'm not going to time you out yet, Nero. Don't do that Sixth Sense stuff to me. Look, man, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so yeah, I also seem to have written down some notes on the characters. So yeah, look, female twin in love with Julius. Lazy butler can easily read people. Very basic character stuff going here, right? Male twin paranoid about following rules, in love with River, which we changed to Artemis. Artemis Art. I'm watching Sephiroth kill your level. So you asked for it, Nero. 1 minute in timeout. No problem, no heart. All right. I don't mind. I don't mind these little notes here. We can stick with them for now. Okay. One minute timeout, mod. All right. All right, let's see here. First act, Raven wanders through a forest during the spring. Oh, that's the other idea, right? Where each of the 4 acts would take place in a different season. So we can play with that. We can play around with that. Lost and alone at night with nowhere to go to seek shelter, she comes upon a mansion owned by a mysterious group of people that take her in very easily. Having been waiting for an excuse to celebrate, they ply Raven and each other with alcohol until the night is one big haze. So at this point, well, as I was writing this, obviously I had the song in mind. So we might change that a little bit. Raven wakes up in new clothes that look like those of Cecilia and meets with Demeter, asking where her old clothes are. Demeter says that Julius ordered her changed. Okay, I like that. I like that. Immediately putting suspicion on Julius. No time has passed since the moment she arrived in the house. Again, that's like the song. We can change that. I don't mind that. Julius then starts to... in fact, I'm going to get rid of it right now. Just immediately. Okay, Julius then starts to treat Raven as a member of his service staff. Soon Raven becomes confused, to which Julius replies that you want to stay here without thinking. First, Raven agrees and sits about to do her work. Soon, work that she's not supposed to be doing interferes with the activities of those in the house. Ooh, okay, I like that. Okay, this is, again, with the song. I'm going to get rid of it. I don't care about it. Yeah, don't care. Okay, so that's it. Okay. Hang on. I need to reload. Okay. So, Nero, are you back yet? Oh, I hate this song. I hate this song. I said, I hate this song. Okay. This is the kind of shit that happens when I try to write, guys. I just get distracted by everything. Can't believe he's not back yet. I can almost hear his voice from beyond. All right. So we can say that. Do we want? It almost feels like, yeah, exactly, Shiny. It's almost like that. How aware do we want the characters of the time loop? That's the question. That's going to kind of determine how the story unfolds, right? What I'm imagining is that they all have like a very, very vague idea, but they're not like aware of what it means or how it affects them, right? Like you can make a like okay, Alana is in love with Julius. Maybe Raven asks her, you know, how long have you known Julius? And she could be like, oh, it feels like I've known him for forever, but I think I was only hired a few months ago. Fuck, or it's a twin. Never mind. Shit. Shit. Okay, that's what happens, man. When you write, you make stupid mistakes like that. Okay, here we go. In love with art. So Edward could say, I feel like I've known her for forever, but I think she only joined us a few months ago. Something like that. We could play with the idea of really, really easily there. Well, we could say Raven is invited, and by the way, these twins, I'm imagining everyone is over the age of 18. Because otherwise it would be really, I don't necessarily mind that, Alana is a younger woman in love with a man of power and wealth, that kind of like schoolgirl crush. I don't necessarily mind that. It'd be a little bit more weird the other way around, which is why I'm not going with that. But regardless, okay, so we'll say like Raven is invited to, we'll say, I guess, hang out with, what are the names? Alana and Edward. And we can say that they don't seem to mesh very well. I really want to push Raven as being friends with Artemis instead, right? The fun part about an outline is that I can be as descriptive as I want, and it doesn't matter, right? Okay, so they don't seem to mesh very well. We'll say we don't need to come up with a scene transition. Eventually, Raven is paired with Artemis, and the two hit it off. They share similar values, and thank God you guys can't see that Discord message. They share similar values and enjoy taking jabs at the twins, right? We could say Raven starts to question her role, only for Julius to walk in and announce dinner. Then at that point, that's where, okay, so we could just get rid of this, right? This, or this part right here. No, I'm not showing you shiny. And then this is where we can do, Raven tries to voice her concerns during dinner, but is plied with alcohol and falls into a drunken stupor. You know, just totally laying on thick the the red herring of Julius being up to no good, right? And, you know, maybe it could even be a matter of like Julius was Raven's real father, who maybe she had a rough relationship with, so she's kind of like projecting onto that all these things that she assumed about him, right? That turned out to be innocuous, right? Or maybe not even innocuous, but like overblown in her head, you know? Right. Okay. We'll say Artemis takes Raven to her room after she causes a scene. And Raven gets Artemis to admit that something feels off about her being there. Because what I want Raven to be is very intelligent, resourceful. I'm almost imagining her as almost like a super nerd, in the sense that she's really good with like practical information, but she's very, very bad at like regulating herself and her emotions, and that's kind of what led her to have to take this drastic step. To form this kind of like mass hallucination, right? So let's see here. All according to Keikaku. Is this the end of the playlist? It's basically the end of the playlist. God damn, that's it? Okay, we'll do We'll just go back to lo-fi Pokemon then. All right. Now we'll do dark lo-fi Pokemon to fit with the Edgar Allan Poe theme. Dark and atmospheric covers. Yeah. All right. That'll cover us for a little bit. Okay. So, when we get started to admit that something feels off about her being there, we could say the next morning, Raven attempts to leave the manor, but gets lost in the woods and has to be rescued. Should we have Julius find her in that scenario? Yeah, let's do it. Julius finds her and warns her not to wander in the night. We could even say that, make a note that Raven left the manor during the day. But as Julius says this, it becomes nighttime. Right? Pile on the freaky. Pile on the freaky. You guys are the worst. All right. Oh, my back hurts. Oh, my back hurts from the yard work. Excuse me. All right. There's a meet and greet tonight with some salsa dancing. Hell yeah, Shaman. You have fun, man. Knock their socks off. All right. What happens next? This is where the struggle begins. So what narrative device do we use to have Raven implicate Julius, right? So we don't need to worry about any kind of like time loop shenanigans or anything like that in this first act. We just need to have Raven murder Julius, right? Okay, what do you guys think about this idea? Okay, so what if Raven was an orphan? Okay. What if she was essentially taken in at a young age by Julius and his family? Okay, bear with me. So what if, Raven decides to investigate Julius and the manor and finds a file with her picture in it. Okay, bear with me. What if in the real world, despite kind of the distance between them, Julius was trying to, fill out adoption papers for Raven after taking her in at a young age and, wanting to finalize it, right? And then in this kind of like hallucination time loop dealio, she finds these papers and maybe like her mind kind of blurs stuff out. And that is what kind of like, quote unquote, implicates Julius, because she would misconstrue it as something else. Something like they were planning on taking her, right? Finds a file with her picture in it. She presents this to Artemis, who doesn't seem to know anything about it. We'll say Raven tells Artemis not to inform Julius about them knowing of the file, right? Because she obviously wouldn't be trusting Julius at the moment. What we also need to do is kind of like add a little bit to okay, so what about this? Okay, so we have Edward being in love with Artemis, right? So we can establish that in the scene. And we can write this down here. Where is it? They don't seem to rush very well. Edward is established as crushing on Artemis and is being encouraged to speak to her, right? So what if in the second act, to kind of like jumpstart Raven and Artemis's kind of like relationship, or friendship, I should say. What if, because remember, Act 2, things are still quote unquote developing. What if Edward tries to make a move on Artemis and Raven has to kind of like get between them and like break it up because Artemis is a little bit too shy to kind of push him away, even though she wants him to like back off. You know, we could do that. Raven tells Artemis not to inform Julius about them knowing the file. So what we could also do is that Alana, remember the female twin in love with Julius, overhears this conversation and goes to Julius in secret, right? From there, the next dinner, Julius, yo, what up, Death? Drops subtle hints that he might know about Raven having the file, but he doesn't seem worried about it. Is this a script about Armored Core? No. You're gonna need to watch from the beginning, Death. I can't go over it again. Sorry. It's a lot. Because remember, like, in the real world, Julius is trying to adopt Raven, you know, out of the goodness of his heart. But in her mind, this is like some kind of like nefarious, secretive, you know, shady kind of deal. And then this would freak Raven out and push her to act a bit irrationally, right? So that's fine. We can establish that. That's cool. Here's the next question, right? Do we want Artemis to like be on Raven's side, or do we want her to kind of like is essentially like side with the master of the house, right? My gut reaction is to have her like go along with it to a certain point, And then when it's clear that Raven just plans to murder his ass, at that point she would be kind of like, nah, I'm done fucking with you, and kind of run away, right? And it could be that the loop ends up happening when one of them dies, right? So what if... Ooh, okay, here we go. What if in the first act, when Raven tries to kind of like confront Julius, maybe things get out of hand and kind of inadvertently she ends up the one dying, right? So that way in Act 2, we can continue to kind of like play with the Julius as the villain angle to kind of pad out the time as the mystery of the time loop is introduced, and we get to see a do-over of that encounter, where maybe this in the second go around, Julius stop, hooligan. Where in the second go around, Julius would be the one to die, right? And it would still loop, right? This is the kind of story where it can't go on for very long because there's just not, we can do our best to flesh out all the characters, but at the end of the day, it's repeating the same thing over and over again. It could easily turn into an endless 8 from Haruhi Suzumiya, right? Which you don't want it to happen. So I think... and remember, like, we're kind of establishing Raven as this kind of like easily flustered, doesn't know how to deal with her emotions kind of girl. So we could even say, like, instead of like pushing her to act rationally, it would freak Raven out and cause her to start hyperventilating, right? Artemis would take Raven out of the dining room to calm down. And Raven would plead for Artemis to help her confront Julius, right? Because I also don't want Raven to just like immediately go to murder. that would kind of make her a quite the rude protagonist, right? So at that point, Artemis would agree. Fucking. Okay. The two meet Julius in his study that night, and Raven's emotions get the better of her. As this, we could even say, we'll say, questions about the manor and Raven coming to it are brought up, and no satisfying answers are given, which freaks her out even more. And at that point, Raven loses control of her emotions and threatens Julius when he tries to console her. Because remember, she doesn't trust him as far as she can throw him. So at that point, it doesn't need to be some like action-packed scene. We could just say that she slips on a loose paper and falls onto the knife, right? With a nearby knife. I could see Julius being a hunter type. We'll establish that. He's a hunter type that carries a knife on him. and keeps it on his desk. I don't know. We could swing it. And the world fades to white. And then just to fuck with people, we could just say a voice like, I don't know, what would the voice be like? A voice like ice running down her back asks, do you want to try again? And then that's Act 1, right? Okay. From here, Act 2 begins. Oh, okay, so let's see. So, Act 2 would begin very, very close to where it starts, or to where Act 1 goes, right? Take her in very easily. Where do we want the split to be? That's the question. We want it to be early. We could say Raven moves to change into her servant's attire before Julius asks, and one of the family asks what she's doing. Maybe it's the lady of the house, because I haven't mentioned her yet, Demeter. And we'll say Raven doesn't have a satisfying answer. Maybe she could just say, like, it felt like you were going to ask me to do this, so, kind of thing, you know? And then maybe we could say, but Julius says that it's a good idea since they need all the help they can. Their family needs all the help they can get. Right? This is kind of the hint, the first hints of like, maybe this is about a broken family, right? So we'll say during Raven's duties, she runs into Edward making a move on Artemis. I'm trying to remember all their names. I don't have all the names memorized like I do everything else that I write. And Edward making a move on Artemis, who is too shy to the group chat is going crazy a little bit. Oh my god. So stupid. Okay. I'll try to push him away. Raven intervenes. What Discord does to a lad. Raven intervenes. We could say that she offers Um, what would she offer, and to who? Because I know I want her to intervene, but like, what's her excuse to get them apart? Ooh, how about this? So in this scene, right? So this is the drunken stupor scene, and Artemis takes her to her room. She starts to cause a scene, right? So we'll say Artemis. Selfishness. No. Tells Raven that when she gets stressed, maybe she has like a physical tick that she shows when she gets like stressed or uncomfortable. It could just be as simple as she finds a spot on the wall, right? That old trick. Focus on and try to block out the world around her, right? So we could say there. And then Raven notices that Artemis is staring off into the distance, and trying not to pay attention to Edward's advances. Shut up. So we could just say that Raven intervenes and takes Artemis away, saying that she noticed that she looked stressed, but not being able to say how she knew, right? It's the future I can see. Okay, so here's the big question, right? So the second act. So we'll say that night, Raven is taken to dinner and tells Artemis that she knows that Julius will try to get her drunk at dinner. Right? Because she's remembering from the last loop that we saw. Give me like 2 minutes. I just need to go refill my drink. My throat's getting a little bit parched. I'll be right back. Oh, gosh. Okay. Sorry about that. So like the time loop could be established as, you know, Raven maybe is you know, when you breathe in, this is gonna sound really weird. You know, when you breathe in and then you start talking, and then even as you run out of breath, it's still, your chest is still kind of like expanded, and it feels like there's still breath in there, but there's not. So you have to take a huge breath and it hurts, and then you breathe it out, and then things return to normal. Anyway, I know that's probably just a me thing. Anyway, so right, so we can establish the time loop as kind of like Raven almost getting, I don't want it to be like premonitions. I almost more so want it to be kind of just like a gut feeling, you know, like when you look outside and you just think it's gonna rain today, and there's no hint of it. You just feel it, right? You just feel it. That's what I'm imagining this as, right? So, okay, so I gotta get her drunk at dinner. Instinct, exactly. Raven refuses the drinks that she's offered and lasts through the dinner, where Julius says in a drunken state how proud he is of Raven. Right? And we don't have to say like why he's proud, or like maybe he could like say something in the context of this setting, right? That, you know, she's worked so hard at this, at, you know, like, you know, finding her way to them and stuff like that, right? So maybe we could even say like Raven doesn't know why, but the words seem to reach her. And she asks why she why he's proud of her. Oh God. Common, you can make the choice if you want to give Videosity a timeout for that one. I leave the decision to you. Why he's proud of her. Okay, so do we want her to ask why he's proud of her? I feel like I almost feel like that would be like too on the nose, right? Like I think that we should just leave it hanging of why, right? I feel like that'd be, for a second act, more important. So we'll just say the words seem to reach her. Okay, so what happens next? So we have the dinner scene. And then what was it? The next day, Raven attempts to leave the manor. So I don't think that should happen this time. Instead, we could bring in Demeter. How about that? After dinner, Demi and Raven talk about what Julius said. And Demi comments that it feels like Raven has always been there. Like she was filling a hole in just... God damn it. I hate my brain. I can't write that. Like... she perfectly fits into a void that the family has had, right? So it honestly, okay, hear me out. Let's get rid of the maid character. We're not using her. We don't care, right? Just get rid of her. Have her fill the role, right? And of course, this could be representative of Raven feeling like the emotional, the emotional maids of the family, right? Maidless. So in that case, should we emphasize her maidly duties more? Should we do that? I feel like we should. All right, we can work that out as we write. I don't feel like doing that now. And I'll just put a note in parentheses. Raven feels like she's the emotional maid of the family outside of the hallucination. Okay. We could say something like, the following day. Who's the butler? The lazy butler that we haven't used yet. Ford. Following day, Ford begins commenting on... So this could be triggered, right? So these different characters could essentially be triggered by Raven's mental state shifting, right? So, and it's not like that, like this has to be introduced here, but this is where it kind of comes into the forefront. It could be. So Ford begins commenting on Raven's, cleaning ability, because she's a maid. Which should we say that it immediately begins setting her off? Because like what I'm imagining is that in real life, Raven and Ford are like brother sister. Obviously, Raven's an orphan, but Ford could be like the son in the family. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So Raven's cleaning ability, which we'll just say, which irrationally annoys her, because a lot of things that siblings say to each other irrationally annoys them. Doing like a Luke Leia thing? No, we're not doing like a Luke Leia thing. They're not gonna kiss. There's hardly any incest in it. That's one of my favorite Drew Gooden lines. Anyway. We could say that he pokes her. We'll say verbally pokes her. Where she has no defense and gets defensive and emotional about things. And that could just be like a throughout the conversation, during the conversation. Because what I'm imagining in terms of like relationships is that, you know, Ford and Raven are the son and pseudo daughter of Julius and Demi, whereas the twins, Edward and Alana, would be Ford's friends that came along on this theoretical trip that might have happened, right? If that makes sense. So during the conversation, the twins come up, and Ford says that they're very fun to hang out with and are easy to get along with. He advises Raven to try and befriend them. Which Raven disagrees with, right? She doesn't want to do it. I think I'm going to finish Act 2, and then we're going to call it on the stream, by the way. So, here's the big question, is how are we going to resolve Act 2? Because we already had the whole, her suspecting Julius. Ooh, what if... What if she remembers the file? Oh, better idea. Better idea. During the next dinner, Artemis brings up the file that Julius has on Raven. So at that point, Raven is freaked out by the information, not remembering her discovery of it. And when pressed, Artemis can't answer how she learned of it because she doesn't remember either. So we could say Julius orders everyone but himself, Demi, and Artemis out of the room, and Ford tells Raven that Julius has been very interested in her as of late. Right? Once again, we're kind of pushing Julius as this villainous character, this shadowy character. So then, how do we progress this? I don't know. This is the fun part. You get stuck and then you have to just think in silence. Well, we could even say something like Edward and Alana. Downplay. Julius into the corner. No. Downplay the situation and go on with their own lives, ignoring it. Because in real life, remember, they are not even related to the family. They were brought along on this theoretical trip as friends of Ford, right? So we could even then say Ford says that he'll tell Julius if Raven starts snooping around in his personal belongings, leaving her without options. She retreats to her room. We could say Julius comes to her room, but she doesn't let him inside because she doesn't trust him. We could say they repeat the questions asked during the final confrontation in the first act, and both realize that they don't have answers to where the manor is or why Raven found it. Notification on the phone. Keep your phone running. So, I don't know how many of you know this about me, but I used to write fan fiction. I still do. I have gotten more DMs from fanfiction.net from quote unquote artists trying to get me to buy their shit in the last year than I've had the entire time I've been on that site. Yo, what up, Darkest Night? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I still am. I know, Videosity. I caught myself. I was a writer on FF.net. Yeah. It's an epidemic. Do you deal with the same thing, Nero? Like, hang on. Let me go to my DMs on that site. Let's see here. Fine. I'll use the stupid app. Jesus. I'm doing okay. We're going to finish up this part of the outline and then call it, though. Oh, God. What's my password? I don't remember. Is that it? That is it. Perfect. Okay, let's see here. Notifications. That's not what I need. I'll just assume it's a starving artist. Oh, shit. Where's my DMs? This app sucks. You don't get DMs from DeviantArt? Excuse you? I don't post on DeviantArt. Whatever. Anyway, it's somewhere in the vicinity of like 5 to 10 people have messaged in the last year. And that's like double what messaged me in the past 5 years before that. You good, Darkest Night? DeviantArt is a cesspool, if we're being honest. Ever since they started allowing AI to be uploaded there, they've just gone down the absolute fucking shitter. So anyway. All right. Let's figure this shit out. So once again, we're back to the question of how do we resolve this? Not a cesspool. It's great. It's good for certain things. But even our thing under Rule 34. Furries and apparently AI. Yeah, a lot of AI. I mean, furries have their own website. I don't know why they post their shit on DeviantArt as well as that, but it's fine. They can do, the internet's a free place. They can do whatever they want, but I'm going to judge the fuck out of them. This is not a safe space for furries. Okay. How do we resolve this is the big question. How do we progress it? How do we kind of escalate this idea? It's the second act. It doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be interesting. In a safe space for anyone. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's the most frustrating thing. Raven freak out. So they both know that they don't have answers, right? So what if Raven doesn't trust him when he says that he doesn't know either? Right? So like Raven tells Julius to leave. I can't explain it again, Darkest Night. You're gonna have to go to the beginning, buddy. It'd take another 20 minutes to explain everything again. Just know it's time loop in a manor in the forest. That's the SparkNotes version of it. So Raven tells Julius to leave, not believing his word. We could say Artemis is sent up shortly after, and the Raven questions her about the file. We could say Artemis doesn't remember how she knows about it, but guesses that she saw it in his study at one point after she arrived, right? So at that point, Raven asks Artemis to show her the study and asks her not to tell Julius. I'll just say anyone else in the family. State of the art. It's terrible. In the family. Artemis agrees since Raven helped her with Edward earlier. We're getting that karma. And we can actually twist that next time, but we'll get to that. The two go to Julius' study and find the file on Raven. Should we have more of the file revealed with each loop, do you think? I think that's that would be interesting. So we could say this time it has her full name, age, and other physical characteristics, along with where she attended school and her residence, right? So at this point, Julius enters. And we'll say, how about we say that Raven, like, she gets like a glimpse of the previous time loop and kind of starts being aggressive in the same way. Raven attacks him almost immediately. We'll say he seemed distracted by her and was looking in the hall to his side when Raven charged at him. So when she stabs him, he dies, obviously. And the world is consumed by a white light as Raven catches a glimpse of who he was with when he entered. And we're going to describe that person. A woman with, we'll say, sunken in distant eyes and an emotionless face otherwise. That'll be important. People die when they are killed. Yeah. And that will be the end. And then we're going to come back to this. And we're going to say it right there again. All right. That is going to be where we're going to leave it off, I think. We made some good progress on this one. I might fill out the rest of the outline on my own time and come back for the next writing stream to actually write. That would be fun. So yeah, we could do that. But otherwise, I think that's going to be it for me. I need to go eat food, and it looks like the boys are trying to get me online. So I'm going to let you guys go. thank you guys for stopping in. This was more fun than I thought, even though all my prep work was for nothing. And yeah, that's what I got. Thank you guys for watching again, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.